Okay, campaign finance corruption has to do with basically the Constitution guarantees popular sovereignty, which means that basically what our government is saying is that we have a power, the power of the people. I mean, it's in the Gettysburg Address. You have I think it's Lincoln wrote, of the people, by the people, for the people. Essentially what that means, you assume, is that the people control the government. The people are the head of the government, essentially. The people are like a dictator. And the people it's a dictatorship with the people as the dictator. And basically what that means, and that's popular sovereignty, and it's in the Constitution. It guarantees popular sovereignty. That means a representation coming through the people. And the way you control a government is with elections. And if someone gets in there as a little dictatorial and conflicts with the will of the majority, then you elect someone else until they're right with the people, and you keep this constant power of the people coming through. Well, campaign finance corruption basically counters that. It's basically saying that the people don't have any power, that all the power is in the hands of the people with the money. And so you have, 2%, like Wall Street, the OWS movement claims at 1%. That's probably what it is. In actuality, 1% controls the government, while the other 99% don't have any power over it. Okay, a good example of this, you don't believe that the people lost their power. It's not of the people, by the people, for the people anymore. It's of, by, and for corporate America. And basically, a good example of this would be like the state of Nebraska, where you had a seatbelt law come through. You had 73% opposed it. 73% didn't want the seatbelt law. Okay, so they put it down our throat, whether we wanted it or not. Well, why would they do that? Well, because these insurance companies, and that's who it is, it's the damn insurance industry. They're coming in from New York and everywhere else. They don't even live in Nebraska, but they profit off of that seatbelt law, and they are coming in with campaign money to the Nebraska state legislature and shoving this seatbelt law down everyone's throat that no one wants. So and Jerry Brown was arguing once on the Phil Donahue show, we need to bring back the initiative referendum in the federal government. That would not do you any good. The initiative with the campaign finance corruption, even Jerry Brown's idea, the initiative and the referendum, they don't do you any good. They're totally worthless, because they got the initiative, they got a bunch of signatures, and then they got it on the ballot and voted for it. And they shoved the seatbelt law back out. Well, guess what happened? Those rattlesnakes out of New York, these insurance companies came right back in there, shoved it right back down their throat. So and this time only 63% supported the seatbelt law. So there wasn't enough people supporting it, and they couldn't even get it on the ballot. They couldn't get enough signatures, even though 63% supported the seatbelt. Only 63% were opposed to it. They shoved it back down their throat a second time. They couldn't get it out the second time. And so what does this tell you? That no one in the state wants these laws, and they're passed with campaign money. In other words, they have to have that campaign money to get reelected. And so who are they going to listen to? They're going to listen to the voter. They don't care what the voter wants. And they're going to listen to these out-of-state insurance companies and interests who come in there with that campaign money. The voter's totally out of the equation. So what does that do? Well, it violates an awful lot of things. Which I listed, if I can find them. The first thing, it's several principles. I mean, that's why the movie Animal Farm we watched in high school. I mean, it was a book written by George Orwell. They made a movie of it, a cartoon movie, and it gives you basically the basic principles of democracy and communism, how the two are different, and socialism and Lenin, Stalin, Marxism, and all this. That Lenin Marxism, what do they call it? And one thing they had, the communists took over, the pigs took over essentially the farm, and it's analogous to communist Russia. And they made a bunch of laws. All men are created equal. That's one of them they had. All animals are created equal in this case. But the pigs went in there, basically the communists, and they crossed it out and said, but some are more equal than others. Well, that's exactly what you've got here. I mean, it's basically government corruption. And, the Supreme Court, I should mention that too, the Supreme Court passed a law that they ruled that the McCain-Feingold passed a law that stops the flow of money into the government. Well, the Supreme Court knocked it out. And basically, what you got is Chief Justice Roberts is basically a communist. I mean, he's trying to tell us that Lenin-Stalinism is the way of the U.S. I gotta